That's why I want to be here next year to make some positive changes, to bring my experience to work for the folks here in Southampton County and for the city of Franklin.
Good morning. I'm Josh White. I'm the captain of the Southampton County Sheriff's Office. I've been with the Sheriff's Office all my life, basically. Only needed to go into the military, United States Marine Corps, to serve my country. I've been there, like I say, 34 years. I'm presently the captain in charge of patrol, and I'm dedicated to the citizens of Southampton County and the city of Franklin. I'm looking forward to becoming your next sheriff, and I believe that we can carry on. And one or two things that I do want to look at is public relations and the kids themselves. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Mark Turner, running for sheriff. I'm from the greater metropolis of Branchville, where I've resided my whole life. I've been with the sheriff's office since 2000. After I graduated from Radford, I went to the sheriff's office. Sheriff Francis had me an intern. I thought I was going to go to a big city. I don't like big cities. I like country. I've worked every position there is at the sheriff's office. And I've got about 20 more years before I can retire. Everybody says you're too young, Mark. Well, I'm 42 years old, and I plan on finishing out my career in Southampton County, and I really would appreciate the vote. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you, John. And if you have some questions, I'll bring you the mic and you can ask your question. Yes, sir.
Morning. Bill Constant, resident of Ivor. One of the concerns I have is improving the radio system for fire and EMS, and how long will this take? We have spots in the county that are holding our radios way up in the air, trying to get someone to listen to us and dispatch. That's my first question. All three?
Who wants to handle that one?
Good question. Something I'm uniquely familiar with. As you may know, in Alawite County, we had the same problem. We could go in our schools, we couldn't communicate. We could go to parts of Rushmere, we couldn't communicate. We recently went through what was projected to be an $11 million upgrade to our radio system. We actually did it for a little less than $8 million. I will tell you that the engineers tell you that we have the most state-of-the-art radio system in the Commonwealth of Virginia right now. It's amazing. It is a public safety crisis that we can't communicate. But here's the problem. It's an expensive fix. It took us the better part of a year and a half, almost 2 years, to bring this system online. And we do need to study it. We need to look at it. But here's the problem, and I'm sure it's going to come up in here somewhere, the courthouse issue. And this is the reason why we can't invest $26 to $28 million in a new courthouse, because we have other pressing needs in the county, such as a radio system, such as some of our schools. And so we've got to be very good stewards of the money. But you're right, and it's somewhere down the line, the radio system, as well as the condition of the jail, is going to have to be addressed.
I agree with Dr. Potter in reference to that. Yes, the radio system is a problem. We do go out from time to time. We have those days on as well, is what you're talking about. And yes, it is a problem when you got a deputy out there that can't communicate back to the home base. We are looking at that, but there again, it goes back to the money situations and the board of supervisors, and we address it, and we will continue to address it. And there again, we do share your concern.
Now, Mr. Potter is absolutely right. I'm on patrol all the time, and my lifeline is my portable, and my portable doesn't work. Luckily, we're getting cell phone towers, then I'm relying more on my personal cell phone to contact dispatch than I am my radio. My cell phone's going to work most of the time. It is a very expensive proposition, and I think we're looking at trying to piggyback off these new towers by putting repeaters instead of building new towers. The equipment needs to be upgraded. When a new tower is built, the the county needs to reserve a spot for a repeater on that tower, and because it is a concern for fire and rescue and law enforcement. And I agree with you, you are right.
Next question?
I'm concerned about the trucks running red light at Food Lion in Portland. I can sit there and see 318-wheelers go through the red light. It's dangerous, and I'm concerned. What do you recommend?
The odd thing is, I'm in a marked police car. If I sit there in a marked police car, for some godly reason, they seem to stop. But when I leave Food Line in my pickup truck, I see it. The problem I see is the law enforcement can't sit to the side because we can't go and testify that, yes, we saw that light was red, because there needs to be an indicator so you know that that truck ran a red light. I can pull that truck over and I can definitively say it was a red light that he ran. The speed zone has dropped, but the speed has not dropped.
No.
It's a dangerous spot for speeding, and it's a dangerous spot for us to even pull cars over because of the bottleneck traffic and all the incoming and egresses on our businesses. But I would like to see VDOT help us by putting an indicator so that we can write more tickets. If one truck gets a ticket, CB radio is going to tell the rest of the trucks to quit writing tickets. As long as we're out there writing tickets on that stop light, they're going to slow down because they know we're there. I know the county's looking at the red light camera system, and I know that they're doing studies on it. I also know that it's going to take a deputy to sit there and review the footage before the ticket can be issued. I don't know where the county's at on that study, and I don't know how that money's going to play out, but when the cameras come up, it's not going to stop them, but it's just going to give us another source of writing tickets.
Yes, that red light is a great concern of mine as well. We do have deputies out there basically every day, but they're in. For those of you who don't know, I do write a lot of tickets. I've written over 50,000 tickets in my career. And I can tell you, my name in New York is the Urban Cowboy because I'm constantly out there. I'm known as well as far as New York. But there again, to set a deputy out there, I mean, that's really going to be a waste because, again, once one trucker sees it, they're on that CV as far as Suffolk. They already know about the deputies that's sitting there. They know what he's driving, and they know what that car looks like. So there again, we are doing the best we can right at this moment. Thank you.
So a couple things. That is first, it's a very poorly designed intersection. I recently was appointed to the Citizens Transportation Advisory Council. I represent the nuisance district. We met last week. We are looking at intersections all the way from the Southampton County, Suffolk line, and we're going all the way out to the Greensville County line. As of this last week, we've prioritized 2 intersections that we are asking VDOT when we're finished our business to look at. One is the entrance to Southampton High School, because that's a very dangerous intersection with our kids coming back and forth to the high school. And the second one is that intersection there at Story Station Road. And what we're asking VDOT to do is to totally redesign that intersection. And we've come up preliminarily with a pretty good plan to address that. And so hopefully, while these VDOT studies takes time, we know that economic development and safety are the 2 things that VDOT prioritizes their projects. And so we think that safety at that intersection is the #1 concern. And so that advisory committee that I sit on is going to push VDOT to hopefully make some changes there. Concerning red light cameras, I will tell you that the county is looking at those red light cameras for all the wrong reasons. Because I've been to the Board of Supervisors meetings and I've heard our supervisors talk about red light cameras, and in every single discussion, I don't hear safety. What I hear is a revenue stream. We can bring in money from those cameras. We can bring in money from those cameras. You can't. They're a waste of time. I've talked to the folks in Newport News. I've talked to the folks in Chesapeake that have numerous cameras. My campaign manager used to be a Virginia Beach police officer. He can tell you they have 8 to 10 officers that do nothing but monitor the information to issue summonses from those cameras. Here's what happens with the red light camera. You're going to write a lot of tickets the first year or so that it's out there. But then people are going to stop, or they're going to know that camera's there, okay? We're still stuck with the cost of having to pay for that camera, to pay a deputy to sit and to review that data, and then to go to the courts and get a summons issued. And that's if the judge convicts somebody. You're only guaranteed that money from those fines if the judge convicts. And so I don't think that a red light camera is the way to go. I think that hard and fast selective enforcement there. I do agree with Mark that there needs to be an indicator light. You go to some bigger cities. First time I ever saw them, I was in Northern Virginia, and you look at the stop light, and on top of the light, there's another light up there. And when that light is red, it shines one color. When the light is green, it's blue. And so when that light changes, no matter where that officer is sitting at, they know the status of that light, and that enables them to go to court and testify that that light was red when they ran.
Thank you, Devin. Let's try to keep our responses to a minute each. Next question.
If possible, how are you going to improve on the response time it takes to get to the Ivor area? Granted, we're all happy we have very, very, very low crime, but it's still taking 20 minutes to get to the court when if someone's home alone, that's a scary situation.
Yeah, can I add to that? I was home alone and someone showed up on my property, a man I had never seen before, acting erratically. Called the sheriff's office, it took an hour and a half before an officer showed up. My husband got here from work before the officer showed up.
All right, gentlemen, that's a tough one.
Improve the 20 minutes response time. I must say that this county is 604 square miles wide, and the deputies are not stationed in one central area. And depending upon where they call, the last call that they have is where that deputy most likely going to be. From one end of the county to the other end of the county sometimes can take you 20, 30 minutes to go from one end to the other. I'm sympathetic with the young lady that had the call and it took that time to get there. But getting someone there within the 20 minutes, unless we have them in that central area, that's the only way it's going to cut down on that time. Because then again, we have to get there in order to help you. And if we can't get there, then we can't help you. And believe, when those deputies are coming, we get the call, there's no doubt about that. When those deputies are coming, they are coming just as fast as they can come. But also keeping in mind safety for those that are on the road as well. So again, the 20-minute time period, unless we are right there, I can't see the 20-minute time period shortening. But again, we're doing the best that we can do.
It's Saturday morning, and right now there's 2 deputies working in Southampton County. And I can look on my map, and I don't know where they're at, but I guarantee they're probably somewhere close to each other because we don't like to respond to stuff by ourselves. The deputy that's working in Ivor is usually assigned half of Southampton County, from the North Carolina line on 258 all the way to the Surrey County line up on 620 or Proctor's Bridge. That's one deputy working that. The other deputy's got the whole other side of the county. If we have 3 deputies working on a day shift, the sector sheet is half and half, and I'm putting one on 58. The sheriff's office is putting entirely too much focus on putting a deputy on 58 writing tickets instead of working in the communities. If I had more deputies working in the communities and not focus on nothing more than traffic control, you would see one out more than you do now.
We're going to take some common sense, simple approaches to some things. If the deputies run low on gas, he has to go all the way back to Cortland to get gas, the bus garage. Why don't they have fleet cars? Why can't, if we have a deputy working in the Ivor area, let's look at the resources, let's study manpower issues, let's look at the zones and see where they're assigned to. So let's use an example, he's in Ivor, he's running low on gas, he's gotta go all the way back to Cortland, that takes him out of this area. They should have fleet cars, so they can go right over to the gas station and get gas. If they're in Boykins, they should go to Boykins and get gas and not take them out of the areas. We're gonna ask the state police to step up and do their, help share the responsibility. They're not called, they're state police for a reason. They can respond to calls, they can back us up. So I'm gonna ask the first sergeant and the superintendent of the state police to look at his manpower assigned to this area. And lastly, you know what? Ivor is what, 10 miles from the Isle of Wight County line? We're gonna have mutual aid agreements that if there's a call in Ivor and it's a pressing call and that Southampton County deputy's not available, then I wanna have a partnership with the Isle of Wight County Sheriff, with our other law enforcement agencies to say, can you send somebody there to stabilize the situation until our people can get there? We do that in Isle of Wight now. It's an extended response time to Camptown. We have Franklin officers that come over, stabilize the situation until our deputies can get there. We've got to start learning to work together to solve some of these problems.
Oh, you're pretty simple. I like that. I'm John Grantham. I'm living through 90s. If I can afford a fleet card, and everybody else in here can, why can't the sheriff department do that? You mean to tell me that they have to go all the way back to Cortland when everybody else has fueling stations down here that have a fleet card? Now, you're saying you're in the beginning again. You should have already had it.
I agree.
When you open up a police department or some kind of vital services, you need a fleet card right there on the spot. Not waver down the road about 5 or 6 years. Well, then you're, like you said, it's the response time that is hurting you to get there. And if you've got to have fuel, that is, to me, a negligence on the sheriff's department.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, that fleet card is a state contracted price. That fleet card is a state contracted price for fuel. It's a lot cheaper than what you pay at the pump. It's regulated every year. Currently where I work, we have them. We should have them here. We shouldn't have to go from Branchville all the way to Cortland to get gas, or from Boykins all the way to Cortland to get gas. That takes deputies out of the communities where they need to be working at.
We've got time for maybe one more question. The clock is 5 minutes fast or so. One more question for the sheriff before we bring to the next group.
This one's for Mark. You said there are only 2 deputies on duty right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Why is that? Are we understanding, or what's the reason that there are only 2 in the whole county?
No, county clerk.
We're short on the road positions a couple, and quite frankly, to run an 8-hour shift with the number of deputies we have, and having a shift off, you're running 24-hour coverage, 8-hour shifts. Somebody's got to be off. We don't have enough patrol deputies to work 8-hour shift. I've been proposing 12 hours for years. That gives you 3 plus a supervisor 24/7. That gives you, if somebody's sick, we're not paying overtime. We have 2 deputies working Saturday, tonight at 3 o'clock. The sergeant comes on 4 to 7 midnight. It's 2 deputies most of the time.
Yes, there's 2 deputies working during the day. But also you have deputies that are available that's out there doing selective enforcement. Just because he's out there doing selective enforcement, it does not mean that he's not available to answer calls. In response to his 12-hour shifts, I personally, I'm against the 12-hour shift. The reason I'm against the 12-hour shifts is I look at it from this point of view. If a man works 12 hours, supposedly the next shift somebody gets sick and can't come in. Now you're asking the next man to split that shift. You're talking 18 hours, okay? By the time he goes home, you're talking another hour and a half before he's down and ready to get into the bed. Then you're talking about another 3 to 4 hours before he's got to get back up again to start his 12-hour shift again. That's not safe as far as I'm concerned. So therefore, I'm totally against 12-hour shifts.
thing that Josh misses on the 12-hour shift, and I do agree with Mark, I've worked 12 hours for the 10 years that I was in Franklin Police Department, we worked 10-hour shifts. You put more people on a shift, so instead of having 2, now you go to 4 or 5. So if someone calls out, you still have other resources there, other manpower there. There are pros and cons of the 12-hour shifts, and I think that's something that we need to study. Amy, to your question, here's the reason why. The comp board allows 1 deputy per 1,500 residents. And so if you look at Southampton County's population, that's where their manpower comes from. It's 1 deputy per 1,500. That doesn't include the city of Franklin's population in there. That's just Southampton County's. And so that's really all the manpower they are allotted for and paid for by the comp board. So if you want more deputies, and I do think, they don't care how big the county is, whether it's 300 square miles or 600 square miles, 1 deputy per 1,500 people. And so we've got to work, again, we've got a lot of needs in this county, whether it's our schools, whether it's our radio system, and whether it's our most valuable resource, and that's our personnel. That's why we've got to be good stewards of the taxpayers' money to be able to put more people on the road.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate you coming in this morning, taking the questions, giving a hand. You're through that.